Hey there, this is R A Manard from Monks of the Way, Weekly Truth Talk, and right now the topic is generosity. And it seems like it might be a big topic, but it's not really that big. Pretty easy for us to talk about if we first delve into something. Great. This is great. So it's the Sutta that we want to do on generosity. General Sia. I've heard that on occasion the Blessed One was staying near Sally, Great Forest, the Gable Pavilion. The General Sia went to see the Blessed One. And on arrival, having bowed down to him, sat to one side. That's, of course, the way they did it. As he was sitting there, he said, Blessed One, is it possible, Lord, to point out the fruit of generosity visible in the here and now? It is, Sia. One who gives, who is a master of giving, is dear, charming to people at large, and the fact that who is generous, a master of giving, is dear, charming to people at large. This is a fruit of generosity visible in the here and now. Furthermore, good people, good of integrity, admire one who gives, who is master of giving, and the fact that good people, people of integrity, admire one who gives, who is master of giving, this too is a fruit of generosity visible in the here and now. Furthermore, the fine reputation of one who gives, one who's a master of giving, is spread far and wide. And the fact that the fine reputation of one who gives, who is master of giving, is spread far and wide, this too is a fruit of generosity visible here and now. Furthermore, when one gives, who is a master of giving, approaches any assembly of people, noble warriors, Brahmins, householders, contemplatives, he or she does so confidently and without embarrassment. And the fact that one who is a master of giving does this, approaches an assembly of people, noble warriors, Brahmins, householders, contemplatives, that person does so confidently and without embarrassment, that too is a fruit of generosity visible in the here and the now. Is there more? You bet there is. Furthermore, at the breakup of the body after death, one who gives is a master of giving, reappears in a good destination in the heavenly world. And the fact that at the breakup of the body after death, one who gives is a master of giving, reappears in a good destination at the heavenly world, this is a fruit of generosity in the next life. You may or you may not believe that, but there it is. So there's all this stuff you know and you should be able to count on. And then there's this thing you don't necessarily know, but you certainly can believe. Now, when that was said, General Sia said to the Blessed One, as far as the four fruits of generosity visible in the here and now that have been pointed out by the Blessed One, it's not the case that I go by conviction in the Blessed One with regard to them. I know them also. I am one who gives, a master of giving, dear and charming to people at large. I am one who gives, master of giving. Good people, people of integrity do admire me. Let's see. He goes on to say, I am one who gives, a master of giving, and my fine reputation is spread far and wide. He is generous, a doer, a supporter of the Sangha. I'm one who gives, master of giving, and when I approach my assembly of people, noble warriors, Brahmins, householders, or contemplatives, I do so confidently and without embarrassment. But the Blessed One says to me at the breakup of the body, after death, one who gives, who is a master of giving, reappears in a good destination, the heavenly world. That I do not know. That is where I go by conviction in the Blessed One, he says. So he's going with his belief in Buddha there. So it is, Sia, so it is. At the breakup of the body after death, one who gives, who's a master of giving, reappears in a good destination, the heavenly world. So that would be that. Sia Sutta. Now, I'm not necessarily critiquing Buddha here, because this is what they say he said, not necessarily what he said. So we're not going to pick this apart and find fault with it, but I do want to add that there's something missing here, and that's karma. There's the things we don't know, we couldn't possibly understand, maybe, that once again we don't know, that drive everything in the world. So we might not know how our actions are going to change things, because change begets change begets change. Wheel upon wheel of the universe turn, and we don't see them. We don't know. And so karma is definitely involved with generosity. I want to mention that the feeling of well-being, of being generous, is good, definitely. But there's the action too, and it should be driven by compassion, our generosity. So we're not just talking about, giving away the farm so that you don't have anything. That's a figure of speech. Giving away everything so that you have nothing and can't survive. That's extreme. We're not talking about being stingy and keeping everything to yourself so much that you don't even need it at all. We're talking about a balance there, generosity. If you don't have compassion, though, generosity is going to be hard for you to understand. And I'm talking about real compassion. And that's certainly not going to happen if you delve into some other concepts of different New Age religious stuff. They're going to get in your way. Obviously, there's some of that say, well, they don't think there's a self. Okay, well, then what will be the point of anything, right? Then they say, well, there is a self. Well, you can't prove it, so you're going to have to go off of, your faith. And of course, it should be wise, productive, and good for everybody in the practice of it. Otherwise, we know it's not true. So that's something. So I want everybody to be generous, and I want them to engage in that, and I want them to be driven by compassion. And there's another thing where people get caught up in some teachings, this time Buddhist teachings certainly, where they go that a person shouldn't have any real attachment. Well, if you don't have any real attachment, then you're not going to feel compassion. What hurts a person is not going to hurt you unless you feel a certain attachment to them. And it might not even be a one person. It might be a whole country that you feel compassionate about, because you care about people. You're and there can be very strong attachment to a loved one, to a family member, and certainly I think everybody that has those should know what compassion is towards those people. But the compassion to care about other people the same as yourself may still be a mystery. Generosity. Generosity does so many things for a person's practice, it's incredible. It can help you in all parts of life, and it can even help you in meditation. I want to keep this short. I'm going to keep it short, and so I'm going to call it right there. Would like to talk more. We kind of almost got into another part of it there, and we didn't. But I want to keep these short because I want to keep them accessible so people are not overwhelmed by the time that they see how big it is. Anyway, what I want for you is for truth to remove delusion the way light removes darkness. This is R A Manard from Monks of the Way, and thanks for having a listen.